Shockwaves have torn through the Formula One world. Lewis Hamilton's dream move to Ferrari in 2025 has become a nightmare that few could have predicted. Anticipated as a fairy tale finale for one of the sport's greatest champions, the season has exploded into headlines of crisis, betrayal, and one ruthless question. What went so disastrously wrong within the scarlet walls of Maranello? From the very first laps, rumors spread of Hamilton battling unexplainable handling gremlins and unreliable feedback from his car. But nobody expected what was to come next. A furious Fred Vasseur, Ferrari's team principal, uncovering hidden flaws buried deep in Hamilton's SF25 problems, so grave they point to sabotage, neglect, or something even worse. Technical failures, ignored warnings, and internal dysfunction have collided to leave a season and a legacy hanging by a thread. As secrets are pulled into the glare of public scrutiny, fans and experts alike are forced to ask, is Ferrari's downfall the result of one defective car or a sign of rot running straight to the core? When Lewis Hamilton signed the deal to join Scuderia Ferrari for the 2025 Formula One season, the world held its breath. After years of shattering records at Mercedes, Hamilton's ambition was unmistakable. He wanted that elusive eighth world title to etch his name alone at the pinnacle of the sport. For Ferrari, the stakes were equally high. The SF25 was touted as the masterpiece that would end their championship drought, heal old wounds left by years of underachievement, and finally return the prancing horse to its former glory. Enthusiasm pulsed through Maranello's corridors. That winter, wind tunnel data hinted at revolutionary advancements in aerodynamics. The new power unit promised reliability and raw speed. Hamilton's experience and technical prowess were expected to push Ferrari's talented engineers and designers to fresh heights. Preseason media day saw bold statements, united front of drivers and management declaring their intention not merely to compete but to dominate. Social media buzzed with images of Hamilton in red, interviews radiated optimism, and fans around the world dared to believe in a new gold era. Every detail, from simulator programs to race strategies, was meticulously planned. It seemed as though the stars had finally aligned for a legendary campaign. But when the SF25 finally appeared on track for preseason testing in Bahrain, cracks in the Ferrari dream quickly widened. The first sign came as Hamilton, famed for his precision and adaptability, fought a car that felt 4-in-1 that snapped into unpredictable oversteer, resisted setup changes, and delivered jarring, inconsistent feedback through the steering wheel. Even on medium fuel runs, the car's balance shifted inexplicably from lap to lap, as if there were gremlins lurking in the suspension geometry. Engineers combed through telemetry, puzzled by erratic grip levels and sudden oscillations. Under braking, Hamilton's radio messages turned from cautious optimism to thinly veiled concern. We're missing something fundamental here. The responses aren't aligning. Whereas Mercedes had operated a seamless feedback loop, driver inputs yielding swift engineering actions, Hamilton now encountered a culture weighed down by committee decisions, with changes often delayed or vetoed outright. The most alarming aspect was just how out of sync the SF25's dynamics were with the promises of simulation data and wind tunnel numbers. Seasoned Ferrari insiders sensed déjà vu, a disconnect between development projections and track reality. For Hamilton, this disconnect not only hindered immediate performance, but also unveiled cracks in communication and a resistance to honest critique inside Ferrari's technical structure. The famed Maranello machine, it seemed, was missing more than just tenths of a second. The troubles that surfaced in testing only intensified once the lights went out in Australia. Hamilton's struggles behind the wheel were obvious. Even to the casual observer, the SF25 pitched violently over curbs, and visible corrections in high-speed corners betrayed a car nervously skating on the edge. After a poor qualifying left in mid-grid, the race itself proved little better. Despite continual setup tweaks, Hamilton complained of an inconsistent rear axle and an unpredictable aerodynamic platform one lap planted, the next plagued by snap oversteer. These issues reached a breaking point in Shanghai, where Ferraris, desperation for competitiveness forced them into an aggressive low ride height setup in a bid to unlock crucial downforce. The move, meant to tame the SF-25's manic grip profile, proved catastrophic. Running the car so close to the ground meant the plank and floor repeatedly slammed against the circuit's abrasive surface. Oscillations destabilized the already flawed rear suspension, rapidly wearing down the aerodynamic components and disrupting the carefully managed underbody airflow. Mid-race, Hamilton struggled to keep the car within track limits, and radio calls revealed mounting panic. Something's wrong, I'm losing rear stability. When the checkered flag fell, scrutineers found excessive plank wear, a clear breach of FIA regulations, and an automatic disqualification. The technical route ran deep. The SF-25's fundamental flaws in suspension, geometry, and ride height control meant that any attempt to recover performance placed other systems at risk. No simple adjustment could erase the deficiencies embedded in its architecture, and quick fixes were futile against the reality of compromised engineering. Yet behind the scenes, it was not merely hardware letting Hamilton down. It was the invisible machinery of Ferrari itself. Insiders began whispering about layers of bureaucracy that stifled urgency and blurred accountability. Every important technical change required navigating a thicket of approvals, with multiple managers and committees weighing in before decisions reached the garage. Hamilton's candid feedback, delivered with the urgency of a champion, often found itself diluted or stalled as it moved up the chain, sometimes lost altogether amid internal politics. Junior engineers, many eager to back up Hamilton's observations, hesitated to raise red flags in meetings. The unspoken rule was clear: avoid causing disruption, protect reputations, and keep development on schedule, even if doubts simmered over critical design elements. This atmosphere bred a fear of transparency. Flaws were downplayed or dressed up rather than addressed directly. Some even suggested that the Ferrari way prioritized consensus over conflict and harmony over harsh reality. When Hamilton pushed for bold setup experiments, some of which had revived Mercedes in past crises, he was told to trust the data, to adhere to established procedures. Valuable months slipped away as Maranello's defenders circled their wagons, missing the opportunity to intervene before the situation spiraled. The technical crisis deepened not solely from misjudgment in engineering, but from a culture that resisted self-critique and innovation, breeding frustration and eroding unity within the team. The situation reached a boiling point after Barcelona, where Hamilton's car performed inexplicably worse than Leclerc's despite identical setups, a clear signal that something deeper was amiss. Watching his star signing fade from title contention, Fred Vasseur could no longer ignore the alarm bells. The team principal personally launched a confidential internal review, calling in technical leads and scrutinizing every step of the SF-25's development process. The findings painted a damning picture. Documents revealed that early warnings about the rear suspension and ride height system issues, flagged in simulation and by several concerned engineers, were quietly minimized or buried to keep the project on schedule. Communication had broken down across departments, with junior staff intimidated from escalating problems for fear of backlash. Crucial design shortcuts taken during the manufacturing phase were traced to time pressure and an aversion to public failure within Maranello's walls. Vasseur, visibly shaken in press briefings, admitted, "We let process get in the way of progress. This isn't the Ferrari standard." Hamilton's reaction was one of bitter disappointment. He commented, "We can't move forward if the truth is hidden. It's not just the car, it's the system behind it." Key engineers described the climate as suffocating, where transparency was replaced by damage control. For F1 historians, parallels to infamous episodes surface, echoes of Michelin's 2007 implosion, or Red Bull's 2015 Renault saga, where defensive cultures turned technical slip-ups into season-wrecking disasters. For Ferrari, these revelations offered a painful lesson the cost of missing warning signs goes far beyond points lost on Sunday for Lewis Hamilton. The shock of 2025 has cast a long shadow over what was supposed to be a triumphant final chapter. His reputation as a driver remains untarnished. His effort, insight, and commitment have been lauded even by rivals. Yet the heartbreak of falling short at Ferrari, not through lack of skill, but through a web of technical and cultural obstacles, colors his legacy with frustrating what-ifs. For Ferrari, the ramifications run even deeper. Far from achieving a fairy tale resurgence, the team now faces global scrutiny. Investors, tifosi, and F1 leadership are demanding answers. The iconic Scuderia's image carefully cultivated for decades as motorsport's gold standard has taken a public battering, exposing a vulnerability that not even the most passionate fan base can ignore. Recovery will require more than a new car or staff reshuffle. The need is for a cultural transformation, fostering transparency, accountability, and resilience rather than hiding behind myth and tradition. The loss of a title is painful but repairable.